open up, you know.
Yeah.
Really, seriously. I mean, here, for like example in this show, okay, you want your widowed son to get married. All right, you want you do you want a wife for your son, or do you want like a mother or a nanny for the kids, right? That's a huge difference.
Huge difference.
That's a big difference. And okay, you've agreed to this alliance, and you already have some preconceived notions about, for some reason, the girl kind of doesn't sit well with the mother-in-law, right? The future mother-in-law. So the future mother-in-law tends to always look on the negative of things. I mean, if her son is upset about something, well, it can be the daughter-in-law's fault. I mean, it's, you know what I'm saying? You know where the blind love goes, and the mother-in-law always thinks that the daughter-in-law is always responsible for whatever her son is
Right.
going through.
Right.
To me, it's very hard to understand how a woman can think like that. I'm assuming that, is it because, well, you know, chime in, but I just think, is it because she's not going to be the center of attention anymore? She has to share her son with someone else, and that's
Right.
part of it. Is it what drives these?
You know, there's actually really interesting research that's come out in the last few years about this very phenomenon. And people are finding that the mothers-in-law who end up like the stereotypical mother-in-law,
Mothers-in-laws, yeah.
actually come from marriages of their own that are not satisfying or are not healthy. And as they are raising their children, they turn their attention, instead of towards their marriage, they turn it towards their kids. And they start looking for that validation, that comfort, that everything that you would look for from your spouse, you look for from your kid. And the problem with that, though, is that your child is supposed to grow up and supposed to move on.
Move on.
And when you do that, that's when the mother-in-law feels that I've lost everything. My husband, I don't feel comfortable. And it's not something that's spoken. It's not even something that necessarily is conscious.
It's like you kind of grew apart over the years, kind of a
Right.
thing, unconsciously, not
Right.
intentionally. Yes.
Exactly. And then the person that you were looking for to give you this validation and support is now turning towards someone else, so you're going to feel betrayed.
Right.
When in fact, the way to counter that is actually for women and men to focus on their relationship while they're parenting their children. Make sure that foundation is so strong so that you're able to handle when your children grow up
Right.
and live their life and are able to build their own families. And I think that's especially important when we talk about remarriage, is there are so many existing relationships that are in play. It's
Right.
not just the couple anymore. And so really learning those skills of how can we make this relationship as healthy and strong as possible,
Right.
so we can counter all these other stressors that are going to be inevitably around us.
Right. Well, that's yeah. It's. I think it's such a vast subject, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
because it's so intertwined with even the relation between mothers-in-law and the daughters-in-law coming up too.
Right.
You guys are listening to Rangmanch Bay Area, brought to you by Shaparali Productions and Shaparali Law Group in association with Rangmanch.tv. We have Daniel on the board, and Parijat is chatting away about remarriage. We are showcasing the new show that's about just over a month old, and it's called Punarvivah, and it takes up the cause of second marriage, a second chance at life, a second chance at starting a new life, with a new partner, putting away your hurtful past behind. And we're kind of discussing the consequences and the various thoughts. So if you have any thoughts, any experiences, and you would like to chime in, the number to call is 408-912 5565. Daniel is giving me a nod. Okay, yes, you're telling the right number. 408-912-5565. You're still here. We have about another 10-12 minutes to go. Feel free to give us a call and chime in. So Parijat, I mean, as we go along into this, what do you think? What would you recommend? How do you suggest or recommend for a new couple going into a punarvivah or going into a remarriage? How do you think, or what factors they should take into to get to that point or be successful in that new marriage?
I think number one, as we've mentioned a couple of times already, they both individually have to know that they're ready for this, and they have to know why they're ready for it. Doing it just because other people think they should, or because they feel that they should, or because they feel lonely is not a good reason to get into a remarriage.
Right.
Know exactly what those things, what your reasons are, and know how you can work around the pain and the hurt that you've been through
Right.
because of a marriage that has ended prior. Once that happens, spending enough time together and having very open conversations about what you're both getting into, what you
Right.
expect of each other, what you expect of each other's families. This is especially important if there are children involved. How are
Right.
they going to play a role in all of this? My belief is we don't bring children into this situation until the two of them are really sure that this is going to work, because
Right.
kids, young or old, take it very hard when their parents
Now
says, "I'm moving on."
your suggestions are much more on the practical in real life.
Sure.
Right. Yeah. Good. I just
Yeah.
wanted
Oh, yeah.
I just wanted to reiterate the fact, because obviously it's not going to work on the drama side
Right.
of it, right?
We'd have to talk to the writers about that.
Yes. we need to make sure they know.
They should be listening, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So the couple need to really.
Yeah, really, and have very, very open discussions
Right.
about that. I think when you start bringing the kids into the picture, it's also very important for the parents, the biological parents, to have very open discussions with their children. How
Right.
do you feel about this? And expect that they're going to have a very wide range of emotions and that those are all acceptable. And to understand that even adult children will experience the same.
Right.
I would even say that when you have existing relationships with your ex's in-laws and they may want to stay in your life, for example, have an open dialogue with them about that and,
Right.
and say, what is this relationship going to look like? For some people, it may still be a very happy, healthy, wonderful, supportive relationship. For others, maybe just because they have children, they have to keep them in their life, but they don't have a good relationship with their in-laws. And to set those boundaries very
Boundaries.
clear, that
Correct.
this relationship is for our kids' sake,
and yeah.
or this is for our sake, or whatever that is. Be very
Right.
clear about
Right.
that.
And also, I mean, like, I know India is so rich in culture. Like, every state's got its own customs and
Right.
traditions and language and things. And as I was watching this show, in fact, it actually I learned a couple of things as I was watching this show. I didn't even know that there are certain aspects or certain cultures in India where when it's a second marriage, that they actually would change the name of the second wife to the first wife. And of course, right then and there, I'm like, how the heck can you do that? I mean, you're going to be kidding me, right? I mean, here you are. I mean, your name is your it's your astha. I mean, it's your roots. It's your identity. Right. I mean, you were given this name, and everyone knows you by this name. It's just not that everyone knows you, but your
It's who you
identity is linked to this name.
Yeah.
So just to go and change that name to the first wife who passed away.
Wow.
That was so flabbergasting to me. I'm like, do people really do that even now in this time and age? I mean, have you ever heard anything?
I've never heard that before.
I mean, me neither. I mean, like I said, maybe it's probably in certain states that we are not
Sure.
that we have not heard. But apparently, my friends have been telling me that it's quite common.
Wow.
But then I'm coming and thinking, okay, what purpose does it really serve? By changing the name, is it going to bring back the first wife? Right? I mean, what is the purpose behind it?
I wonder if it lessens the stigma of a second marriage. If the name is the same, then maybe the second marriage isn't technically a second marriage, Or I'm not sure. I'm guessing
Right.
at this point. I don't
just
know.
just for the point of talking it out, right? I mean, so then that pretty much defeats the whole purpose of a remarriage. And starting a new life,
Yeah.
because they're still holding you back with the past. Then how does it even, you know what I'm saying? So it just doesn't make sense to me that you would change the name, and then the other second thing was they changed the name, and then the girl who passed away, the wife, her parents would come and do the kanyadan for this new bride, and I'm thinking,
Wow.
I mean. Okay,
Wow.
I can
had
be
no idea.
I can be traditional, and I respect customs and I respect the traditions, but there has to draw lines at some point. You just can't blindly follow blindly whatever they're saying you to do.
I'd imagine that second wife must feel like she could never live up to.
Exactly my point, and that's exactly my point. If we think we're entering into a remarriage, and obviously this show is what it's showcasing in the sense that the issues that come up, right? If there's a name change, if the kanyadan is done by the first wife's, parents and stuff, her own parents. So I guess they're trying to showcase that even though you're entering into remarriage, there are a lot of issues that are surrounding it. Obviously, you're going to be adding a little drama to it to be, to increase the TRPs on it and all that stuff. But for me, I think even when you think about remarriage, thinking about remarriage itself is a progressive idea.
Yeah.
That's what I think. I mean,
absolutely.
Not thinking about the westernized people. Oh, we have got 3 minutes left. Okay. But when they hold it back with all these customs and traditions and things, and then of course I think it also comes into play, we are the boys' side. I mean, hey, we get away with a lot of stuff, and I think that happens even now.
Yeah,
too.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah, with the groom side thinking, so whether it's a first marriage or a second marriage,
sure.
We can do that. But yeah, that's very interesting. So, well, since Daniel is pointing us 3 minutes, folks, we have to kind of wind up. Before we head off, Priyanka, thank you from India for giving us a call and staying online for so long. I know you're disconnected, but I know you're also hearing our show online. So thank you so much. Parijat, before we take off, any advice, parting shots for all these people who want to have a second chance at life?
I say go for it. I say don't listen to other people. They don't know what your relationship was like and what your new relationship can be like. Take the time to work through whatever you need to and feel confident that when you're ready, people are out there.
Hey, you know what? I'm all for it. I second Parijat, and if you guys need any counseling, Parijat and I are here. Just call us on Rangmanch and we will do counseling, right?
Sure.
Why not? We'll give you guys free counseling. We'll listen to you. We'll talk to you. But folks, like Parijat said, take it slow. Make sure it's all honest. Make sure it's all clear on both sides. Yes, a lot of people might be involved in it, but my personal point of view is it's ultimately you and your partner. So make sure you guys are on the same page before you actually step into it. Dosto, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you, Kay, for calling us. Thank you, Priyanka, Parijat, and Sonal. Thank you so much. And I'm going to be ending the show with a great thank you. I'll be coming back with Chaz on Tuesday. On Thursday on Two's Company, and then back up again on the Chaz Man Show on Friday. And before we head off, I just want to make sure you guys listen to the theme song of Punar Viva. It is doing a pretty good job. It's doing a decent job. You can follow it. I'm following it. But I think follow it just to see how they're showcasing the marriages. Daniel, you want to play the song for us so we can say goodnight? Daniel, special thank you to you for running the boat. Appreciate it. Good night, folks. Have a great week ahead.
मिलकर नैना जाने क्यों फिर झुक जाते हैं, आगे बढ़ते ही कदम ये जाने क्यों फिर रुक जाते हैं। धड़कनों से है गुजारिश डोर में ये बांध ले जाए हमें, हर उलझन को सुलझाए हंसक मीठी सी ले जाए, हर उलझन को सुलझाए हंसक मीठी सी ले जाए। दिल है भी है